We continue with the second chapter of the book of Shir Hashirim. Ani chavatzelet hasharon shoshanat ha'amakim. The woman in the song continues, and she says, this lover, this woman, she says that she is a lily of the valleys, a rose of the Sharon, very beautiful. We talked about this yesterday, a lot of images. Yesterday we had Ein Gedi, here we have the Sharon. We'll have many, many places, and with her, it's much more these places that are in the wild, not in the cities. Again, a lot of images of animals of the Middle East, animals of Israel, a lot of places in Israel. And then presumably the man talks back and he says, Kishoshana bein hacholchim, kain rayati bein habanot. Like a lily among the thorns, so is my darling amongst the maidens. He says back to her. What exactly does he mean by that? Maybe he's saying you're a lily compared to the other women who are thorns. You are the most beautiful, or you're in a difficult place. Again, he is this royal, he is this noble, he is Shlomo, he's in the palace. He's not used to having to dig through the thorns to get what he wants. The things are brought to him. And then she responds, presumably, Ketapuach batzei ayar kein dodi bein abanim b'tzilo chamadati v'yashavti u'firyo matok lechiki. Like an apple tree among trees of the forest, so is my beloved amongst the youths. I delight to sit in his shade, and his fruit is sweet to my mouth. She expresses her admiration for the man, her comfort when she feels in his presence, right? He says to her, you're amongst the thorns. And what does she say back to him? When I'm with you, I don't feel that I'm amongst the thorns. I don't feel, like she said yesterday, that I'm in the fields and I am darker because the sun has baked down upon me, because those evil stepbrothers or whatever have made me watch their field. She continues now with another little speech for the next number of psukim. Heviani el beit hayayin v'diglu alai ahava. He brought me to the banquet room, and his banner of love was all over me. And is this a description of the first date that they had? Samchuni ba'ashishot, rafduni batapuchim, ki cholat ahava ani. Sustained me with raisin cakes. I can't tell you exactly what a raisin cake is. Let's say it's an oatmeal raisin cookie for Americans, Canadians in the 21st century. Refresh me with apples, for I am faint with love. I am faint, I am besotted. She is in love with him. Smola tachat l'roshi vimino tichab keni. His left hand was under my head. His right arm embraced me. He's holding me up. He's embraced me. Hishbati etchem benot Yerushalayim b'tzvaoto bayalot hasadeim tariru. And she turns and she says, I adjure you, O maidens of Jerusalem, by gazelles or by hinds of the field, do not wake or rouse love until it please, until it is here. Right? What she's saying is, don't awaken the love too prematurely. The love is going to come, and it's going to happen. She's lovesick. And this is something we'll see over and over again. These daughters of Jerusalem, like, don't get involved. Don't think, just wait until the time of love is right. Maybe it's a time period where the men were more the ones making the moves than the women. The women maybe want to find love, and the men are not ready to find love. Those who see this book as not just about a relationship between a man and a woman, but a metaphor for the relationship between God and the Jewish people. The questions here about the Jewish people not being ready, or God not being ready, depending upon the different way that you read the book. Oftentimes the man is depicted as God and the woman is depicted as the Jewish people. And she's saying, the Jewish people are not always ready. God is ready. The Jewish people are not always ready. We continue now in verse 8 in Pasuk Chet, where the man takes over and seems to be speaking back towards her. And he says, Kol dodi hine zeba midaleg al heharim mikafetz al agvaot. So, right, the voice of my beloved, I hear it leaping over mountains, bounding over hills. And maybe that's her, sort of getting him to speak. This is words that we'll have a couple of times. Kol Dodi, the voice of my beloved, famous work of the 20th century by Rabbi Soloveitchik, who spoke about the voice, God knocking, the Kol Dodi, the voice of God, the knocking of the voice of God to Jews all over the world to join in the project of the state of Israel. And he wrote about that at great length and continues, Domed dodi litzvio lofer hayalim. My beloved is like a gazelle or a young stag. Hine ze omeid achar kitalenu mashkiach min hacholonot meitzitz min hacharakim. There he stands behind our wall, gazing, through the window, peering through the lattice work. And then this last verse is, or the last phrase in here is oftentimes used to describe different ways of the relationship through God, as God gazing through the window and can see everything perfectly. When we look at God, do we see God perfectly, or do we peer through the lattice work? We don't see it perfectly, like a person behind the mechitza doesn't get, the full picture. But the lover here is looking for her. Ana dodi va'amarli kumi lach rayati, yafati ulechilach. My beloved spoke to me. Arise, my darling, my fair one, come with me. Kihine hastav avar hageshem halach lo. For now the winter is past. The rains are over and gone. Hanitzanim niru va'aretz et hazamir higia v'kol hator. Nishma ba'artzenu, the blossoms have appeared in the land. The time of the pruning has come. The song of the dove is heard in our land. Ha'te'ena chantafa geha v'hakvahnim simadar natnu reach. Kumi lach rayati yafati ulechilach. The green figs form on the fig tree. The vines and blossoms give off fragrance. Arise, my darling, my fair one. Come away with me. And so here, this is the voice of the man. He's calling the woman to join him, describing the beauty of spring, inviting her to to be with him. It's a good time to be together. It's the spring, right? Come away with me. Let's renew our love. Is what he is, is what he's saying to her. And there's this sense, and we'll see this in the book. A lot of what this book has is, right, they're speaking to each other and they're longing for each other, but we don't always see them with each other. They're longing for each other, but they're oftentimes not together with each other. They oftentimes are unable to be together. And now in verse 15, he continues, according to some, it's she now speaks. Some it's understanding as maybe it's a joint statement that they're making together. So in verse 15, 15. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't read 14 yet. My apologies. The last of the verses of the man. Yonati b'chagave hasela b'seter hamadrega harini et marayech hashmini et kolech ki kolech arev umarech na'aveh. Oh, my dove in the cranny of the rocks, hidden by the cliff, let me see your face, let me hear your voice, for your voice is sweet and your face is beautiful, is comely. And this is, right, again, just think what I've said many times, the animal usage. Don't, right, starts off with the beauty, calls her like one of the horses in Pharaoh's chariots. And here it's the dove, but she's hidden. Again, she's not in the amongst the thorns here, but the nature and the beauty of nature is the way he defines her. But she's, again, hard to find. He doesn't see her face. He doesn't hear her voice. And so, right, he wants to hear her voice. She says she hears him, Kol Dodi. She hears the voice of the beloved. He wants to hear her voice. He has to leave the palace to find her. But he's a man of the palace. He's the man who doesn't know how. He needs a tracker. He needs a scout to help him to find her. It's like she is hidden. And I think here, again, talk about this. If we think about the great writer of one of the great Jewish thinkers of the 20th century, Abraham Joshua Heschel, who has a book, God in Search of Man, Man in Search of God. And so much of this book is man in search of God, right? The man in search of is the woman in search of the man. She hears him knocking, she hears his voice, and God is in search of man where he sees us, but we're hidden as well. We're not necessarily there for him. And so this question of each one looking for each other and the longing, very, very important. Continuing, 15 is, sorry, according to many, the sort of the two of them say together in a sense, Echezu lanu shualim ktanim mechablim kramim uchramenu smadar. Catch us, the foxes, the little foxes that ruin the vineyards, for our vineyard is in blossom. The vineyard being presumably a metaphor, an idea of their love. It's blossoming, it's growing. But there are people who are getting in the way of their love. Maybe it's the other people in the palace who are saying, you don't need to marry this sun-drenched, darker-skinned woman. She's not up to she doesn't have your nobility. And maybe to her, the foxes are saying, he doesn't really love you. He just, wants to be with a common woman one time, and then he's going to drop you off at the side of the road. So it's not clear, but their love needs to be protected. And again, in this analogy, if it's about God and the Jewish people, the enemies of the Jews attacking the Jews, we know all of the different ways that that's happened historically. Continuing in verse 16, seemingly she is the one talking. Dodi li v'ani lo haroeh bashoshanim. My beloved is mine, and I am his, who browses amongst the lilies. Right? We know ani lidodi v'dodi li, which we talk about in a few months before Rosh Hashanah for the month of Elul, the month that's supposed to be many ways. We're supposed to start to build that relationship, that relationship of love with God. Here we have it expressed to us in a slightly different way. Dodi li va'ani lo, the same idea. And finally, verse 17, Ad sheyafuach hayom v'nasu hatzlalim sov demelach dodi litzvio lofer ayalim al hare vater. When the day blows gently and the shadows flee, set out, my beloved, swift as a gazelle or a young stag for the hills of spices, right? She expresses longing for his return. It's like he has left and she wants him to come back. She wants him to join. She wants him to join her once again. He had to go to work, but their bond is still there. There's still this closeness. There's still this loving. We have to watch our relationship. We have to guard our relationship. It's not so clear that it will be there. And so take it between two people, lovers, take it as analogous to God and the Jewish people. But we have here again is this chapter, this longing, these different songs. When did it come about first? Like we said, we don't know. I'll mention something I mentioned yesterday, which is there are those who say that these were wedding songs that were sung. Today, you go to an Orthodox wedding. I don't know if it's still in vogue, but it was in vogue 20 years ago. And the groom maybe sings Esher Chayil. So back then they didn't sing Esher Chayil. What they sang was perhaps some of these love songs to express the love between a husband and wife. So is it about that? Or is it about that? And as well, as we have said, about an analogy, a metaphor for the love between God and the Jewish people and the longing that we should have for each other and sticking together despite the difficulties that have happened many times throughout history.